Well, I tell you what, that's the sound we've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen, because it is now time for the Paranormal Portal. And welcome, everybody. Hope you're having a good weekend. Happy Friday to you all. I hope you're having a wonderful time doing whatever it is you're going to do on this, I guess it's New Year's weekend. I don't know. But I guess it could be an extraordinarily long New Year celebration for people. So whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a good time doing it. And thank you so much, as always, for spending some time right here with me on the Paranormal Portal. I really appreciate it. Good to see you all you guys piling in, especially on the YouTube side. Great to see you guys. Thank you so much for coming in and saying hello. We got a lot of things going on tonight. I'm kind of feeling like I might be actually getting under the weather again, and I'm not liking it much at all. I've just got a little low-grade fever again all of a sudden. It's like, God bless it. So, what do you do, first of all? What do you do? I don't know. But all I can do is just keep chugging away. But, man, I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling worn out again. It's like, dang it. I've heard some people having this thing for weeks, and I was hoping that wasn't the case for me. But, man, I'm telling you, I'm feeling sleepy as hell today. But yeah, it's just another bump in the road, right? That's all we can do is just keep trudging forward, and the show must go on. So with that in mind, the show is going on, and you're going on with it, folks, as always, because we've got a lot to get to tonight. Sheldon was going to be here, but he actually is, pretty miserable himself. So for more cowbell, I've got the fever for more cowbell. No, I don't think we're going to do any cowbell tonight, but I'm going to see how I can get through this or not. It's only like a 99.1 degree temperature, but I was like, felt a little warm, felt a little sleepy. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't like this. I'm supposed to be better now, getting better. And I am. I'm much, much, much better than I was, but yeah. God, I just next, please. Next. I hate reworking the same crap over and over. Anyway, think positive, right? Yeah, I hope Sheldon gets better too. Thank you, David. I know he's nursing it as well as he can. He just really got kind of zapped yesterday, so I don't know. I mean, he has the gift of youth though, so that's always a big help when you're dealing with any kind of bugs, because God knows the older I get, the longer they stick around. But anyway, we're going to be doing the news, obviously. I've got a little video from TikTok that was posted on our Discord that we're going to go over on the news as well, because it's been a real quiet news day, and not a lot getting posted as far as new articles. But this video is pretty freaking incredible. It's one of those that's like, God, I can't say it's real, but I can't say it's not real. And if it's fake, these people stayed up way late figuring out how to do this, because it's some pretty striking activity in this video. But you'll get what I mean when we show it during the news. We're going to be doing the Discord question of the week. I was going to be doing the t-shirt giveaway that was going to be actually sponsored by our very own Batman. He wanted to give away an extra t-shirt, and I would have loved to have done that, but I can't do it all tonight. So we'll probably just belay that until Wednesday night when Don comes back, and see about doing it then. So, but thank you, Batman, for funding another giveaway. That's really cool. You're a rock star, brother. Thank you. And we'll probably just open that one up to everybody. That's not going to be any special thing. So all of the YouTube participants, viewers, members, Discord, all in one. There'll be an extra t-shirt giveaway because of the New Year's, the holidays. Yeah. Embracing another year of the Paranormal Portal. So I guess we got that going for us. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Probably a bunch of things, but I can't remember them right now. So I guess we're probably just going to march over and start the news if you're all ready. Are you ready to get newsed? I'm going to news you up. So buckle up. We're going in. It's time for the news. 'Tis the most trusted news, as we've been told. So thank you, everybody. It's time for the news. And I'm going to do my best to get you informed. There's a few things going on here tonight. Again, it's been real quiet on the news fronts from unexplained-mysteries.com, but we'll get to that TikTok for third. But the first article coming up is going to be from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is from December 29th. So it's brand new, really. And I don't know what to think about things like this, and it probably will be nothing. But when you've got a location that's known to be a place where some pretty horrible spiritual stuff broke off, do you just open it up for parties after that? Like, hey, you know what? This is where these people got possessed and where all this stuff happened. And stop by. We're going to do a Bob for apples and stuff. I don't know. I think it's kind of a dice roll personally. But the article I'm talking about is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Please support this site. Help them keep the fire burning over there because they are amazing. This is a great site. And this is the real-life conjuring house to host New Year's Eve ghost hunt. That's right. They're going to do a ghost hunt, folks. Right there. They're going to stir it up right there. I don't know who owns this house now, but oh my God. They are just opening it up to anybody and everybody. There are so many shows that have gone through there now and so many people doing stuff. It's pretty incredible. But here, let's read the article and see what it says. It said, this remote Rhode Island house has been home to all manner of unexplained occurrences over the years. Situated in Harrisville, this infamous abode was once home to the Perrin family, whose experiences, along with subsequent investigation by Ed and Lorraine Warren, would go on to inspire the 2013 James Wan movie, The Conjuring, which itself spawned a number of sequels and spin-offs. The story goes that a witch had cursed the property, dooming anyone who lived there. During the 70s, the Perrons were plagued by paranormal incidents and unexplained occurrences, which reportedly became increasingly sinister and threatening as time went on. As they moved out in 1980, the house changed hands a number of times. Most recently, it was purchased by the Heinzen family in 2019, and then after going on sale yet again in 2021, it was bought for $1.5 million by a developer who wanted to open it up to the public, and by God, they have. They've opened it all the way up to the public. It says, true to their word, the house has since hosted a number of paranormal events, and later this month on New Year's Eve, it will be inviting visitors to conduct their own paranormal investigations right there. Hosted by investigator Monique Too Soon? Is it too soon? Okay. Alongside author and clairvoyant Sam Baltrusis, the event will even see participants spending the night in hope of experiencing something supernatural. You can check out a video of covering the history of the Perron haunting below. Yeah, I think it was an incredible haunting. Now, that's not to say that a house remains active. It may just have that one big spike, and it might be mostly played out. But I know there's a lot of people going in there, and I know on the inside baseball that some people have done some things in there to try to really spark it up again. So I don't know. You kind of take your fate into your hands, I guess. But that is definitely a case of playing with stuff we just don't understand. So, but whatever the case, people can do what they want. Best of luck to you. I think I'll skip that one. I just think that's one of those locations that's like, nope, not for me. So that's the first article tonight up for grabs on the news. And the next one we're going to get to is another haunted location. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. The next article on our News Fest tonight is, here we go. All right, this is 300 paranormal incidents recorded at notorious haunted house. So there's 300 incidents that have been recorded here. Now, what does that mean? Well, it could mean anything. It could mean a light flickered. That's a paranormal incident now. It could mean a strange draft of cold air. Oh, paranormal thing. Or it could mean Furniture's moving around. That's a paranormal thing. And then people speaking in languages they never learned. And, I mean, there could be that's such a broad spectrum to say paranormal incident. So it could be just really benign, weird things that haven't been really quantified, or it could be some incredible stuff. But let's read what it says. It says, farmhouse in a remote area of North Wales has been home to a wide range of paranormal occurrences. The Pennyford Farm, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, because the two F's together in Welsh and two D's are, I think they make different sounds, but at any rate, I think two D's together make an L sound or something like that, but I don't know. Has seen so many cases of paranormal phenomena over the years that it has even attracted the interest of Hollywood. Mother of four, Rose Mary Gower, whose experiences at the farm have been investigated for a new BBC documentary, Paranormal, The Girl, the Ghost, and the Gravestone, has spent years documenting the various occurrences that have taken place there. These range from disembodied voices in empty rooms to sightings of full-blown apparitions. In one case, a large wooden owl was seen moving on its own, while in another, the figure of a pregnant woman mysteriously appeared on the patio before vanishing into thin air. One day I was moving some dried flowers that had started to look a bit manky, so I decided to throw them away, Glower wrote while documenting the occurrences. I took them from the lounge to the kitchen and put them on the counter, dropping petals all the while. Somebody came to the door, and I was about 30 seconds, and when I came back, every single petal had disappeared. They had been replaced by dead or dying half-drowned wasps. Oh, that's not at all creepy. There's no sign of wasp nests, and all the doors and windows were shut inexplicable. Her records even attracted the interest of Hollywood producers looking to make a movie, but when Glower heard that they wouldn't be completely factual, she turned the offer down. If we're going to make up a load of stuff based on a true story, and it was going to be ridiculous, she said, I would not ever sanction that. You either have a true story or you don't have it at all. Yeah, that's true. So when you hear based on true story, that can be a full spectrum of ranges of possibility. So not very good. And I didn't know that. I mean, of course, you hear based on true story. Well, it's mostly true. You think you're getting kind of maybe a little embellishment, but mostly true. But no, usually it's a hell of a lot of embellishment with maybe a grain of truth. That's right. All right, so there you have it. I don't know. I'm not saying that the claims are inaccurate or whatever. I just don't know. But when you say 300 paranormal events, it could be a whole range of things. Could be, gosh, I thought I shut those blinds. Why are those curtains open? I know I shut them. Well, it might be supernatural. It might just be absent-minded. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to quantify paranormal. So, at any rate, very cool. I'm sure it would be an interesting property to check out. I'm sure there's a lot of history over there. Jeez. Lots of things have happened on those lands over across the pond, and they're chock full of memories of yesterdays, I'm sure. All right, so that was the second story, and now we're going to get to the video. Now, full disclosure, I don't know anything about this other than I just saw it. It was posted in our Discord. And I can't remember who posted it. It may have been ZX81. It might have been, I guess I can just look. Because I got one of those Discords. Where is it? Bigfoots. Where is it? Gosh dang it. Wow. How did I lose Bigfoot? There it is. Here it is. Who did post this? Let me just find it. I got to go up a little bit because it was a few days ago. I don't think that's one's. Is that it? I think it might have been Chad. Chad Votaw might have posted this. Yeah. Chad Votaw, I think, did. He posted two together. And this one's pretty crazy, folks. I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't know for sure what's going on in this picture, but what the background of it is that I can have ascertained so far is it was a police area that was cordoned off for some reason. I don't know if there was an accident there or whatever, and they were investigating, but they have the police tape around it, and it's on this embankment of this mountain. Where was it? I don't know if it says where it was. I don't know, but it says, basically it says, "Sup guys, here's a strange creature caught on police trail cams, lifting a tree trunk effortlessly. Let me know what you think." Now I will have to mute this when I'm playing it because it does include music, and unfortunately, I'm gonna get a quick strike on my video if I try to play it. But at any rate, what you're gonna see is this dark figure, kind of obscured by the branches and stuff. But first of all, you're gonna see it grab a down tree and a root ball and drag it uphill. Now, it's hard to say what we're looking at here, but it looks like mature trees. It looks like they're pretty mature, maybe not full as big as you can get trees, but darn close. And the first one, it kind of drags this root ball up and just kind of throws it. Then it grabs another one and kind of hoists it up in the air and does like a big axe chop with it. Now, even if that was rotten wood, it would be, well, I suppose it'd be heavier if it was rotten because it'd have all that water weight. But if it was wood, if it's solid fresh wood, that would have to be a huge weight. So you be the judge. Again, I don't know anything about this other than I've seen it here. I've not heard any other background. It kind of reminds me of that video that we showed a while ago of that, what looks like a Sasquatch kind of leering between the V of two trees, kind of like that big hulking figure with the snow falling down, and it's just standing there looking and kind of rocking back and forth. And it doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't really do anything, but it's just, it seems to be in the same, I guess, family of what the Sasquatch look like. Looks very similar to that same creature. But anyway, here it is. You be the judge. Again, I don't have a horse in the game. I think it's interesting. I think it could be legitimate, and I think you can be the judge and let me know what you think. So, without further ado, here we go. Here is the TikTok post, and I'm gonna start it and then mute it right away.
Hey folks, brace yourselves.
Okay, so you can read that. It says an extraordinary challenge for a trail camera strategically placed at the police at a crime scene captures an imposing figure reminiscent of a Bigfoot in stature. He effortlessly lifts a sizable tree trunk, impressive feat involving elevating the 12-inch diameter, 25-foot-long log, a jaw-dropping 30 feet into the air, followed by a resounding slam. The strength power exceeds human strength, with the estimated weight of the massive log hitting an impressive 530 pounds. And boom. There's the one that he throws out of the way. Now check this out. He's going to hoist up the really big one. And it goes up in the air. Look at that. That's a freaking log. Boom. So I don't know what you're seeing, folks, but the first impressive part is when it drags the root ball. Now this is kind of the root ball on this tree. To me, I don't know if you've ever pulled on a tree that's still connected to the root ball. But the root ball is all sand, dirt, and rocks. And that's freaking heavy as hell. But watch as it just hoists it uphill. Look at that. Just dragging it uphill. And then to free that other one. And then it grabs that other one that rolled down. And even if that was kind of punky and stuff, that would still be. And then just kicks over that one tree with the root ball. And there it goes. And it's a huge thing. I mean, that's a log. That's not a stick. And pow. So, what are you guys seeing? You'll have to let me know. But I think the first drag of that other one was really impressive to me because you can see it's At least it may be not the root ball. It might be just a whole bunch of intertwined branches, but still, it's pulling it free and then kicking it over, like get out of the way. And then up goes that tree trunk or tree, I guess trunk, yeah. And then slams it down. And you can see that thing flex as it's whipping it down like that. So I don't know. I mean, again, could it be hoaxed? Sure. Everything could be totally out of scale, and we could be made to look like it's much bigger than everything is. It could be that. But it could also be as big as it looks, and then it becomes incredible. Way too big for a human to lift. Yeah, exactly. I think it's a hell of a capture. I really do. That could have been trail cam terrors to end it off. So there you go. I don't know, folks. You be the judge. I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll put the link in the chats so you guys can check it out. But I think that's really incredible. Now, is it, again, we don't know anything about it, and there may be a whole bunch of new information to come out that would, either propagate that or negate that. I don't know. But just on first blush, looking at what we can see, gauging it off of known scales of things that, we're familiar with, that's still, even if it's an adolescent tree, that's a lot of weight. That's a hell of a lot of weight. So, and the speed at which it just chops it down, it's like, wow. And I don't know. I'm not suggesting that's full power, but it was enough to make a big noise, I'm sure. So you be the judge, but all I'm doing is bringing you the news, ladies and gentlemen. So this has been a production of the Paranormal Portal News. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed the video. Tell me what you think. It's not being picked up. It's being pushed down, but the video is played backwards. I don't know how that would work. I don't, let's look at it again. Now I got to pull it back up. I don't think that's right though. I don't think that matches, because when it impacts the ground, the branch, when he chops it down, you can see the very end of it break off, like break down towards the ground. I don't think that's the right play at all. But let me see. I want to watch it again with you guys. I'll put it
Hey,
on.
folks. Brace yourself for what I consider an extraordinary challenge for any human. A trail camera strategically placed by the police at a crime scene captures an imposing figure.
Damn it, I hate that. TikTok has this thing, oh, you got to do this, this, and this. I got to open it up in a different browser just to show them I'm not a robot. For God's sakes. Frustrating messes. I don't want to get slammed on a copyright thing. What the hell did we do? Okay, load it. Boom, there we go, okay. All right, let me mute it or pause it. We're going to put it back up on the screen. I'm going to blow it up this time. We're going to throw out all the bells and whistles. Because I think when the big one gets chopped down in like the hatchet motion or the axe motion, that the end of that log does break and bust towards the ground, which would definitely show inertia and show a breaking point in an impact. So I don't think it's going reversed. Not that lifting that uphill from that vantage point would be easier either. I mean, lifting up anything that size, if it's as big as we think it is huge. That's absolutely huge. But let's do this. I'm going to go full, and I'm going to go here to full screen. I'm going to pull up my chat. Okay, I think everything's on screen now. So let's take a look. I want to mute it. Okay, so here you go. Now there's the creature. And watch as he's looking around. It looks like he's disgusted. I don't know if that was an area they lived or what. Then it stands up. And you can see he's just grabbing that thing and just pulling. There it goes. And that's not reversed. Obviously, that was the correct motion for him dragging that out of the way and knocking this down. And then he kicks that over, get out of the way. And then he goes up with this. Now, I want you to pay attention to the tip of this wood when he makes the impact. Boom. Did you see it kind of break down here? I mean, that doesn't look reversed at all. So it's on this side, lifts it up, comes down on the other side of this big stump. Now, again, it's not this size, but it's still this size. That's still a hell of a lot of weight. And the way that it's grabbed, he's grabbing it like a baseball bat with all of that mass. That'd be heavy as hell. It does look like, yeah, it kind of breaks down. Boom. There. Do you see that? It kind of went boom. So it either broke another one down and then it landed on top or whatever. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's pretty incredible. I've been watching Kardashian spoofs. Oh no, Karen. Karen, that's gonna put you in intensive care. I think you lose IQ points the more I have Kardashian stuff. If it's a spoof, that would be funny though. I do got to give you credit for that. But yeah, there you go, folks. I think that's a hell of a capture potentially. Again, there's very little go on, no backstory at all whatsoever. So we don't know what's going on. What was this taped off for? What is the situation here? Why would this thing be there? And what's the story? I don't know. So there's a whole lot of questions. It's certainly not enough to give that's definitely a real Squatch. We just don't know. But from what you can see, it may very well be. It might very well be. I like that one. I like that one a lot. So that's the news, ladies and gentlemen. Tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Paranormal Portal, and I'm your host, Brent Thomas. That's right. We made it through the news, folks. And do you feel like you learned something? How many of you never saw that image before, that TikTok video? How many? One for that was the first time. Type a 1 if that was the first time you've ever seen that. Yeah, gotta let me know, because that was yesterday I think was the first time I looked at it. I was like, wow. And it worked out good to fit it into the news, because we're having a short news day today. So worked out perfectly. There's some ones popping up. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Not at all. We cut wood every season in our house, even though it's not a big tree. They are heavier than you realize. I've tried to load just sections of a log that apparent size into my truck. It's not happening. Yeah, I hear you. Buttons. Yeah. I mean, and it's probably a moist wood. It's not like it's dried and been undercover. So it's got a lot of weight in it just from water. I don't know how long it's been dead or died, but even then, if it's just sitting out in the elements, it's sucking up, the ambient moisture. So the whole thing, I saw it a while back. Oh, did you, Bertie? How long has that been around? Anybody know? I have seen it. They said it was a police crime scene and they put the cameras up. Yeah, I wonder what the situation was. Okay. I don't recall ever seeing it again, and that's not to say I definitely haven't. It's just I don't remember. But I see, so many of these things all the time, but I usually remember when I've seen something before. And that looked pretty brand new to me. So you got to forgive me. I'm going to be drinking a little more water tonight because I'm taking these supplements. They're called NAC, and they're good for bronchials and stuff like that. They're good for helping with respiratory stuff. And since I'm pretty convinced I had a pneumonia, but the problem with those is when you take them, honest to God, they kind of, like if you don't drink enough water, it feels like acid boiling in your stomach. They're really pretty potent. But it's NAC. Look it up. It's great. It seems like it's a great supplement. It's helped me a bunch. It's part of what's gotten me back on my feet, as much as I am back on my feet, like, which depends on the moment sometimes. But anyway, all right, we got a lot more show to get to. And I guess we could probably start. Yeah, what, NAC? That video, yeah. John says it's been out for a while. Yeah. It may have been. It's just I don't catch everything, but I try to stay on the cutting edge of this stuff. Brent, Yukon helps. Yukon? What's Yukon? I don't know what that is, John. I mean, I know of a place that's called the Yukon, but Cryptovania in the house, Tommy Cooper. How you doing, brother? Thanks for stopping in, man. Happy Christmas and Happy New Year to you guys. Hope you guys are doing wonderful over there at Cryptovania. Long-time friends of ours here on the show. They also have a channel. Is that channel up, Tommy? Is that channel back up on Roku's or whatever? Or is it? I was looking for it once and couldn't get it up, and I was meaning to reach out to you. But it's such a cool station, folks. You can tune into it on a Roku. Look for Cryptovania TV. If it's up and running, it's phenomenal. Tommy and Jason put it up there. And they also have featured some of our episodes of the Paranormal Portal. And they again, Tommy, anytime you want to refresh that playlist. No, it's not. Okay. So it's not up. All right. Gotcha. Well, I've seen you guys have been doing some streaming over there, Tommy. I've caught a little bits of your streams lately, and you guys are doing a great job. I mean, I really love what you're doing. So check it out, folks. Check out Mr. Tommy Cooper on YouTube or Cryptovania. And they do live streams talking about all this weirdness that we love as well. So, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Oh, yeah. I know what I was going to do. I'm so flighty tonight. A little low-grade fever just makes me stupider than normal. Let's see. I just got to see where it is. There it is. Okay. I'm just getting it all queued up, folks, because we're going to head into one of my favorite segments of the shows. And I'm the pro. Tom, you got to keep that bar real low if you're going to set me up as a pro. Lowered expectations. Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I just decided to have fun with it either way. Because, I don't know. If you, my thinking is if you have a great show, own it. If you have a bad show, own it. Either way, just own it. Act like you meant it. But anyway, we're going to get to the Discord question of the week. Is our next segment, folks. And special thanks to Chucky Danger for keeping this fresh and relevant and modern. And I got to find it. There it is. So if you're not familiar with this segment, what we do is we have a Discord community. Special thanks to K-Love, who continues to just be so incredibly giving. And she actually single-handedly elevated our server, so we have a static URL over there. So, and that is discord.gg/Paranormal Portal. If you want to become a part of the group, please do. But the question of the week is this segment where we ask you guys the question, our Discord community, and then we read them on the show here. We actually look to you as the gold standard for real. Well, I'm honored, sir. I really am. I appreciate that. I don't think I'm deserving of that, but hey, all my love, brother. And if I can help you in any way, let me know. I'd be happy to. But we ask you guys a question. Let us hear what you guys think, because throughout the course of the show, you always get our experiences, our thoughts. So now we're going to hear yours. And so Chucky's been doing a wonderful job spearheading this and doing a great job. Thank you, Chucky. You're the boss. And this question of the week for this week is, and I guess I should have been reading this tomorrow, but it doesn't matter. We'll do it tonight. Because tomorrow's another day. Question of the week. If there was a way to shapeshift without any ritual or drawbacks, would you choose to do it? And what would you choose to shapeshift into? Oh, that'd be cool. I mean, just imagine, okay, you didn't have to do any hocus pocus or sell your soul or anything like that. You could just poof and you were shapeshifted. Would you do it? Hell yeah, I'd do it. I'd do it. I'd be everything. I'd be like the fly on the wall that I always wished I could be when people are tearing it up. I would be an eagle. I would fly up there and just check everything out. I mean, who wouldn't? If you could experience the freedoms of being like, even like a fish or whatever, you could swim in the depths of the ocean and try not to get eaten and stuff, but just to choose a big fish. But yeah, I think I would for sure. Let's see what you guys said. The Batman says, could you gain or lose mass in the transformation? Let's say you could. Let's go with yes, you can. Although, if you're too small, you become food. But if you're too big, maybe you become slow. I don't know. Mel's comes in at Shepherdess and says, in this fun thought experiment, yes. And maybe into a raven. Oh, a raven would be cool. In reality, no, because I don't believe anything is truly neutral. Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. That's fair. CMB, Chasing Mound Builders, comes in next and says, to be able to explode into a murder of crows and reform at will has been and always will be my dream. God, you imagine that? Imagine how popular you'd be on Halloween if you could do that. Just be standing there in a black trench coat and just, you bust into a murder of crows and then you reform into a person. Yeah, that would probably spook the kids pretty good. He says that's technically shapeshifting. Yeah, it is. ZX81V2 says, I was going to say a crow. What's that say? Zel's crow god? I don't know what that means. Zel's crow god. Pineapple Tango comes in next and says, I'd like to be able to change into, I was going to say a dog, but I think I would like to be a fox. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. John T says, I don't think so. Usually something goes wrong. Murphy's Law. Well, there is that. What if you got stuck? The old parental curse. You keep doing that, your face is going to stick like that. And then you're stuck as this owl that's on the screen. Let me do this. Let me put it up on the screen so you can see it. This owl, it just cracks me up. I said it looks like the Danny DeVito owl. And Chucky came in and said, Danny DeVito owl. But doesn't it look like Always Sunny in Philadelphia there? Danny DeVito. Charlotte says, yes, and an owl, of course. The type of owl I choose would be this one. You got to wonder what he's thinking. With those eyebrows, he's all business. Cryptic Chaos says, I'd choose to be a bird, preferably a strong apex type, such as an eagle or a hawk, so I can defend myself while I fly and be left alone. I want to travel in peace. Yeah, I think that's good. Except you ever see those eagles that are just getting mobbed by crows? Sometimes crows are real bastards. They're like, nope, you're getting the hell out. Hey. Alleluia Goat says, I'd pick a dog so I could see what the F they stop and sniff everything all the time. I was just call it the emails. They were getting their emails. When I'd walk Xena, my dog would be like, yep, it's time to upload an email. Then she'd do her business. And then when she stopped and smelled, she was reading her email. I don't know. It was funny in my head. Let's see. Oh, there's me talking about the owl. Chucky came in and said the Danny DeVito owl. Eric the Purple Hobbit says, scent is how they get information, I'm told. Also, a dog could get more information by sniffing another dog's beehole than anyone ever got from CNN. All righty. Well, there's a thought I didn't need in my head. Alleluia Goat comes. God, we never learned from that trick. I hope we never learn that trick. Yeah, I'm good with getting the memos. Eric the Purple Hobbits, yeah, that would be awesome. I would choose to shapeshift into a hybrid of Sasquatch, Mothman, and Lizard Man, or Frogman, calling myself Super Purple Hobbit. Okay. Well, good luck with all that. Rachel says, I'll say Raven, and fly places known and unknown. Maybe they're a bird that naturally has the second sight, so I can see and talk to many paranormal beings, ghosts, the fae, cryptids too. Yeah. That's fantastic. David Zeismer says, I don't think I would want to shapeshift into anything really, just in case there might be a kind of repercussions. Yeah, that's the scary version, sure. Karen Alberding says, I would not unless it was into my younger self. I think it asking for lots of problems and otherwise. Yeah, it could be, but just for the sake of the thinking about it, what would you choose to turn into? I mean, maybe things like, what would be another good one? Maybe a blue whale or something, just to lazily swim across the ocean and hear the songs of other blue whales, I think would be incredible. I don't know. I mean, just anything. I don't know. I think it would just be neat to be plugged into the natural world more, like I think our ancestors were, much more than we are now. And what did they know? What wisdoms did they know from the natural world around them? And, they think about the shamans. There's shamanistic practices all over the world, but like in Australia, from the Aborigines, they communicate with animals. They like literally communicate with animals, apparently. Like they can find out about somebody on the other side of the world from this network of animals. I was listening to an interview that was on Beyond the Veil. Those are friends of mine, Chris and Chiricchio, and they were interviewing some shamanistic guy from Australia, and he had his other people on there that were part of whatever he's doing. And I don't know if I'd say a spiritual practice or what, but they talked about how instantly when something happened to the one on one continent, the shaman guy would know about it because he heard about it from a kangaroo who told him the story that came to them. And it's like, oh my God, could you imagine if that dialogue was out there somehow and was able to be plugged into, and how maybe it's too much information. I don't know. But I think it's fascinating that information may change hands through some telepathic means of connecting to the natural world around us. That to me is fascinating. But maybe it's off topic. I don't mean to get off topic, but very cool. So this has been the Discord question of the week, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate you guys' feedback. I appreciate your contributions, you sharing your thoughts, and there isn't any right or wrong answers for any of this stuff. So feel free to type whatever it is you want, as long as it's appropriate. Sometimes we've had only a couple examples of people popping in there and just using it like their own, like they're trying to make it their own joke booth. And it's like, yeah, that's not really the purpose of the thread. I don't mind some humor, don't get me wrong, but and inappropriate stuff, just really inappropriate stuff. So, but generally speaking, our community is extraordinarily solid. So, we're very fortunate that way. You guys are always respectful, and I appreciate that a bunch. So this has been the Discord question of the week. Boom, baby. There you go. I got to turn that off before I get back to there. And then I got to minimize Discord so we can start digging into more. But wait, there's more. Because we're going to start. I started a thought catalog article last night. And I was like, yeah, I read the first two of it and even recognized the artwork. But then I read some more of it. And I'm like, no, we've done this whole article before. So I'm going to stop that one. I don't know if I did a podcast of it or if I shared it on the show. But in any case, I'm going to stop reading that one that had to do with creatures that people experienced, because I know I've covered it before. And the last thing I want to do is try to fill your guys' ears with the same information you've already been given. I at least try to keep it fresh. And when you're going out farming content, it's a crapshoot anyway, but at least I try to be cognizant of things we've shared and not give you the same thing twice. So my friend saw a bald eagle here in Winnipeg a couple of weeks back. Is that unusual up there, Rachel, for a bald eagle to be up in Winnipeg? Because I grew up in Minnesota, and there was nesting grounds all around our house. So I saw eagles daily. Not to brag or anything. It's just I didn't know. I know they've made a huge resounding comeback since the damage they took during the DDT and all of that, and nearly wiped them out. But are they still rare in places like that? Yeah. Okay. I'm in Pennsylvania. Lots of eagles up here. John is. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I'm curious too, Maggie. Is that unusual? It is. I mean, I suppose there's some places they're more apt to be than others, but no, they're around. We have pigeons in the city, so there's food. Oh, do they eat pigeons? See, where I'm from in Minnesota, like this time of year, if it's the normal cold winter, there's like only a small patch of the lake that's open in the middle, and that's where all the ducks congregate. And so the eagles literally sit and dive bomb ducks all day long. And you'll end up with parts of ducks in your yard and stuff where they roosted in the trees above your house and picked away at this carcass and dropped pieces. And yeah, it's lovely to pick up pieces of duck from everywhere. But yeah, they're an extraordinary animal. They are just beautiful and majestic, but the power of their wings is what's incredible. I was with my cousin and his wife. It was, God, I don't know, 8 years ago, maybe more. But we were down visiting, and we're sitting on my grandmother's patio on top of her garage, and it's a lot of forest around there. And an eagle landed on a tree maybe 200 yards away, and it was on this barren tree. It was mostly dying tree, but it was just sitting in the branches, just kind of sitting there looking at us, and we were looking at that and going, oh, that's really cool. It's right there. And then it took off, and it jumped, and it was like, woof, 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 woof. And that's what the wings sound like. They grab so much air that it actually makes a whoop sound. It was crazy. I mean, I usually don't hear them, fly away because they are very skittish birds. Some people say, no, eagle will defend their kill. They'll defend from a person. But I'm here to tell you, eagles run away from everything. I was never able to approach any of them. They were just noping out all the time. So when you hear that sound, though, it's so humbling. Like, wow, that's incredible. And when you find the eagle feathers, and I found several, they're huge. I mean, they are huge, like literally like 18, 20 inches huge. And when you move them like you're flapping, they really do grab the air. They actually kind of flex. They grab the air so efficiently. It's just incredible. Very incredible stuff. All right, so I guess now we're gonna. What time is it? I was gonna go to that article, right? I remember what I was gonna do. I remembered. So we're gonna go to. This one's kind of creepier maybe than the other one. So the other one had to do with creatures and stuff, and what I found instead was an article from Thought Catalog, and here's the thing. I think that everybody's familiar with the idea that kids, they get imaginary friends. But sometimes these friends aren't so imaginary at all. And we're going to go through some stories from Thought Catalog. This article is from May 19th, 2021 by Chrissy Stockton. And the article is 23 parents describe their kids' creepy imaginary friends that are probably actually demons. So there you have it. I don't pretend that just because kids are speaking to spirits or seeing spirits that they're evil. I don't know the scope and nature of the spiritual presences around us, but I think there are benign ones and there are absolute evil ones. I think that there's a whole mix, and hopefully the ones that are coming around your kids are at least, hopefully those are good ones, because God, what a frightening thought. But we're going to check out this and see some of these stories, because I think this is a very real phenomenon. Of course, we've covered many times on the show that kids are one of the first ones to pick up on hauntings, and their ability to absolutely and completely connect with spiritual presences is awesome and amazing, because kids will experience them like they experience you. These younger kids, they experience these as full apparitions. They're not just wispy, ghosty things. They are physically there and present, and they ask questions. They tell, they have entire dialogues between them and these other presences. Now, again, I don't know what they are. They could be formerly human. They could be absolutely never were human. But whatever the case, I don't think that makes them all evil, whether they're human or not. Sorry. I think I got to take a decongestant. A little bit of a decongestant because I'm congested. As the night goes on. There we go. That's the beauty of the studio. I've got my own little health bay in here. It's because I hate making trips. It's like, just keep it here. Your kids' demons are on TikTok. Yeah, that's true. That's true, buddy. Mr. Justin Goodearth. What a great guy. I missed you, Justin. We haven't seen you forever. We had the pleasure of hanging out with Justin and his family a few times. And what a great guy. He's really made some incredibly long journeys to come hang out with us, which is really cool. So hope to see you again at one of the shows this next year, buddy. Hope shift goes well, Dan. Dan's leaving? Okay. Well, have a good shift, Dan. All right, let's check out this article and see what we can dig up here. His first one is he doesn't have a face. That's a great one. My son, at the age of 3, always tells me about Creeper Man, who lives in my mom and dad's bedroom. He brings it up after he visits them. And I made the mistake once of asking what he looks like. And my son said, "Oh, he doesn't have a face." Oh, jeez. Well, I'd chalk that one up to the do not contact list. Number 2, you'll get used to killing. This one sounds familiar, like we might have heard this one before. Parent of one of the students told us in a meeting that she was concerned because her son, 7 years old, talked about an invisible ghost who would talk to him and play with him in his room. He said the ghost was called the Captain and was an old white guy with a beard. The kid would tell his mom the Captain told him when he grows up his job will be to kill people, and the Captain would tell him who needed to be killed. And the kid would cry and say he doesn't want to kill when he grows up. But the Captain tells him he doesn't have a choice, and he'll get used to killing people after a while. Oh, God. Grab the frankincense. We're going to work. Grab the holy water. Wow. That's freaking scary. That's not the kind of person you want hanging out, filling your kid's head with ideas. Number 3, little girl ghost. When my daughter was 3, she had an imaginary friend named Kelly who lived in her closet. Kelly sat up in a little rocking chair while she slept, played with her, etc. Typical imaginary friend stuff. But anyway, fast forward 2 years later, the wife and I are watching the new Amityville Horror, the one with Ryan Reynolds, and our daughter walks out right when the dead girl goes all black-eyed. Far from being disturbed, she said, "Oh, that looks like Kelly." "Kelly who?" We say. "You know, the dead girl that lived in my closet." Oh, God. Yeah. That's not good. That's not good at all. Kelly shouldn't look like that. Here's the next one. Number 5, Roger won't be around anymore. My little brother's imaginary friend Roger lived under our coffee table. Roger had a wife and 9 kids, and Roger and his family lived peacefully alongside us for 3 years. One day, my little brother announced that Roger wouldn't be around anymore, since he shot and killed him and his whole family. I don't know if he remembers any of this, but his genuine lack of remorse was very disturbing. Oh, that's creepy. Who killed him? The kid? The kid's like, bang, bang, I got you? Or what? I don't know. I don't know if I understand that one. Number 6, a boy in the tree. My folks' farm surrounds a cemetery. My dad and my niece were walking down there. My niece, 4, looks up and says, "What's that boy doing up in the tree?" There was no boy, but she insisted there was and could describe him. That's not good. But is it bad? No. Sorry about that. Just raspy. Because it looks like a little boy. Does it mean it's a little boy? No. But it doesn't mean it's evil either. It's just maybe appearing like a little boy for the sake of the kid. I don't know. I mean, it could be evil. I'm not saying it's not. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's probably always best to err on the side of caution. I just think that there's so much going on in this world of spirit around us. We just don't know. We just don't know what we're dealing with. And so many people jump to conclusions based on, I don't know, gut feelings maybe, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But does that mean that they're absolutely right? No, I don't think it does. But believe what you want. Number 7, the Bunny Man. When I was 16, I babysat twins who were in the 3rd grade at the time. Well, they always spoke of a man in an Easter bunny costume, and they were terrified of him. One day I was babysitting, and one of the twins was in the shower. His brother and I were sitting downstairs watching TV, when all of a sudden he said, "You need to go check on Matt." Seconds later, Matt yelled, "He's in here! He's in here!" I ran upstairs and had to check every room before he would calm down. I'm not sure which part of the experience freaked me out the most. Well, yeah, the whole twin thing. That whole twin thing is real powerful. And I think it's awesome. It'd be awesome to be like a super connection to your other self. I don't know if that's only, is that with fraternal, or is it only with identical, or is it with both? I don't know. Do you have to almost be identical to get all of that sensitivity, or is it just twins? Any twins can have that same sensitivity. I think it's really cool. All right. This one is number 8, poor Shaggy. When my mom's younger sister had an imaginary friend named Shaggy, when she was finished with Shaggy, she chopped him up and put him in the fridge. Oh, God. That's time for some therapy. All right, number 9, smashed Daddy's head. Yeah, these are really disturbing. Okay, so maybe most of them are evil. I don't. I might rescind my point now. When my brother was just learning how to talk, he grabbed one of those small toy hammers and crawled onto the sofa where my dad was sleeping. And he then leaned in close and whispered one of his first sentences. Smashed Daddy's head. Right into his ear. Yeah. Time for a priest. Number 10, dark angels. When my brother was little, he acted like he had angels talking to him every second. One day, my mom overheard him say, "I can't kill him. He's my only dad." Ugh, that's horrible. Number 11, that's the man. My daughter used to tell me about a man who came into her room every night and put the sign of the cross on her forehead. I thought it was just a dream, and then my mother-in-law sent over some family photos. My daughter looked right at the picture of my husband's father, who'd been dead for 16 years, and said, "That's the man who comes into my room at night." My husband later told me his father would always do the sign of the cross on his forehead when he was young. Aw, that's beautiful. That's really kind of cool. Continuing those blessings even in the afterlife. Number 12, message from beyond. My wife and I overheard my 2-year-old daughter on the baby monitor wake up on Saturday morning and say, "What? Okay, I'll tell her." And then get up and come into our bedroom and told my wife, "Mary says you're doing a good job." Mary was her grandmother that she was extremely close to that passed away. Aw, that's sweet. Wouldn't that be wonderful if we could all get those messages? That'd be so powerful. Number 13, I called him Spooky Guy. As a kid, I said my imaginary friend was a ghost. I called him Spooky Guy and said he died in the garage of the house on the hill behind ours. I even came up with his death. He was a 16-year-old who got into a car crash and walked to that house to ask to use their phone and died in the 70s. The person lived there, grabbed him and abused him and then killed him. He was my imaginary friend as far back as I can remember. Well, this scared my mom so much that she tried to look up the records and to see if that happened and got me a therapist. Yeah, hopefully that's just some creative thinking. That's a heavy load for any kid to know about. Number 14, Icy wants me to tell you it will be tonight. All right, what will be tonight? In high school, one of my best friends had a little sister who was 5 or 6 years old. One day we stopped by his place completely high because we needed to get his magic cards. And while waiting for him to come downstairs, his sister came up to me and said, Icy told me to ask you if you know when you're going to die. Well, I laughed nervously. Morbid question, right? But I knew all about Icy, her imaginary friend. I even helped her draw a picture of him once. So I played along and said, no, of course not. No one knows that. Hopefully when I'm very old. The girl shook her head sadly and said, no, Icy wants me to tell you it'll be tonight. And with that, she just walked away. Somebody get these kids a friend. Not imaginary. They need real friends. That's just disturbing as hell. Yikes. We'll do a couple more of these. A couple more. All right. This one is, it is the punishment. It's a cute picture. Somehow I think this is going to turn sideways on us, though. I was 17 and babysitting a friend of the family's 6-year-old. He'd been in bed a couple of hours and just peeked in to check on him. He wasn't in the bed when I opened the door wider. I saw he was standing in the corner facing the wall. Creepiest thing ever. I asked him, what is he doing? And all he did was turn around, smile, put his fingers to his lips as if to say, shh. And I asked him again what he was doing, and all he says is, leave us. It is the punishment. Ugh. Yeah, you need to, you need some cleansing. Number 16, keep kicking. My grandfather had a camp in Lake Deering in New Hampshire when I was a kid. One day when I was 6 or so, I fell off the dock and into the water, and I couldn't swim. While under, I distinctly remember seeing a little girl down there who told me to look upwards towards the sun and just keep kicking and I'd be fine. I swam to the surface just in time for my grandpa to swoop me up and pull me back on the dock. We read another version of this story. This is a very chopped version. The other version of this story was that they did find out that a little girl had died from drowning on the end of that dock in that same place. That's kind of sad that they omitted that part in this version though. Because I thought that was the big takeaway. Was not just the fact that, hey, it taught you how to swim, but it was that there was a historical reference to validate that presence. So that's cool. I mean, if you're going to be an apparition stuck somewhere, that's a pretty good job. You keep other people from drowning where you drown or something. That's a great thing. That's crazy though. Wow. Number 17. Nope. When my boy was 4, his imaginary friend would sit in the corner of the room when you switched off the lights and light the room with his red glowing eyes. Well, I don't even know if that's that. There's no context at all for this. This is just somebody being weird. Because how just, is this what your kid says? Is this what you observed? And if it's what you observed, obviously it's not just an imaginary friend. Number 18, they were both dead. Kid I used to babysit had imaginary friends. Well, they were dead. One had no head, and one was an old lady. They were both bloody. The one with no head had insides sticking out of his neck. I didn't ask him questions about them because screw that. Yeah. Now, kids have very creative imaginations, and so is every one of these paranormal? Absolutely not. Just sometimes kids have the most morbid, creative imaginations ever. And so they're just fabrications, maybe from some amalgamation of what they're seeing during their days or whatever, that just kind of bleeds out into these narratives or whatever. But yeah, you gotta shelter your kids. You can't let them watch everything they want to watch. You can't let them know about stuff they're just not ready to know about. Yeesh. Creepy stuff. This is going very quick though. This article is. This one didn't really have a title, but this is 19. Oh, Tracy, there it is. When my niece was about 4, she had an imaginary friend, which I don't remember the name of. And she would blame things she did on this imaginary friend, but also talked about how this friend would watch Scooby-Doo with her. One day I thought, why don't I find out more about this friend? So I asked her to tell me about her friend, and she said, she's a she, and she's dead. And I said, okay, does she have a job? And she said she does what my daddy does, which is that her imaginary friend was a cop. Okay, and then I said, where is your imaginary friend, a policewoman, at? And she said, right next to where daddy's a policeman. And I said, okay. But then she said, I met her when I was in mommy's belly. She touched it when I was inside. A few months before my niece was born, my cousin Tracy had died. She was hit by a train. She loved watching Scooby-Doo and had a ton of memorabilia. She was also a cop. She was also a cop in the town that is right next to the one my brother-in-law is a cop in. My niece's daddy. My niece's imaginary friend was my dead cousin. There's no other way she could have known all of that at the age of 4. See, and that's beautiful. I think that's a great imaginary friend. You know, it's your family member. They love you. All right, number 20, that's why I don't like water now. When my kid was 4, we were watching a documentary on the Titanic. The scene was a picture of the schematics of the boiler room, and the camera panned from left to right over the plans. He pointed at the TV and said, "That's wrong. The boilers are on the other side." And I was right here. And he pointed to a small space in the boiler room. That's where I was, and that's why I don't like water now. Wow. Ooh, that's creepy. That is creepy stuff. I don't know if there's just 3 pages left. If there's 3 pages left and just 2 per page, I guess we can just keep going. Yeah. Why not? And then we'll get to the cryptid corner. Number 7. All right. Number 21, Emily. When my sister was probably 6 or 7, she had an imaginary friend named Emily. Well, she told us, I'm sorry, the throat gurgle. She told us Emily lived in her closet and wore an old black dress and had long dark hair, and she was the same age as my sister. My sister played with Emily constantly. My parents started noticing my sister acting weird, just sitting in the middle of her room whispering to Emily quite a bit and acting a lot more distant towards them. I remember a very specific day my brother was walking by her room and my sister was sitting in the middle of her room, but she turned around and hissed at him. Oh, God. He was scared. He told me it didn't even look like my sister. My parents ran up to her room and I could hear my sister just screaming and screaming as loud as she could, "Get out." I have no idea what happened in that room, but I ran to the bottom of the stairs and the screaming stopped. I saw my parents holding my sister, crying their eyes out. She was sobbing as well, and I've asked her about it today. She's 24 now, and she told me that Emily used to tell her to do horrible things to herself. She actually used to wake up on the roof and not remember how she got there. I'm not kidding. Apparently, Emily absolutely hated my parents, and so she turned my sister against them. She hates talking about it now, so I never brought it up that specific night. And this all happened at my old house. When we moved to a different house, Emily was gone. I'm not making any of this up. My sister's little friend was a really big deal to the family and messed things up for a long time. I'm just relieved that we left this house. Yeah, no doubt. Oof. Creepy. Creepy, creepy. All right, and here's 23. The evil's coming. This might be the last one. Was it just 20? Yeah, this is the last one. When my older daughter was 2 or 3, she used to have a couple of imaginary friends, Dodo and Dee Dee. They were typical imaginary friends. She would talk to them and play with them and tell them about their lives. Then one day, when she was about 3, she was talking on her play phone. When I walked into the room, she hung up her phone and said to me with completely flat voice and deadpan expression, "The evil is coming." Oof, that's creepy. Just don't want that evil coming, man. Yikes. That's a lot scary. The evil's coming. Oh, really? Are you hungry? Did you want a sandwich? We'll wait for the evil to get here. That's horrible. You don't want your little kid saying the evil is coming. That's not a good thing. But we are going to head to the cryptid corner now. Yeah. I got a couple pulled up here from Sasquatch Chronicles blog, which are always amazing. And I got several from Lon Strickler's Phantoms and Monsters tonight, too. So I'm sure we'll be polishing up most of these tomorrow because there's just a lot of material to work with. Hey, Chucky. Hey, yo. Is it like guardian angels? What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Gotta look for a few. Jack won't leave me alone. He keeps bopping my hand. Just checking up the chat, see what I've been missing. Anyone have a 7th son of a 7th son? Wow. That's a very sacred number, Tommy. Nope. I'm the 3rd son of a first son. So I don't qualify. I think the lineages are pretty rare for that one. I'll tell you what, Tommy, I was just stumbling around as I was checking out odds and ends for the shows, and I did stumble upon an article from Phantoms and Monsters that I didn't realize was a thing, but apparently, if you're familiar with the TV show The Witcher, apparently there is a folklore presence in Scandinavia or somewhere of witchers, these not human people, and they seem to be supernatural, and I don't know much more about them, but I was kind of floored by that. I was like, there are witchers apparently. So I guess I should have guessed, because I think a lot of things are built from those folklores and legends of our, different, I don't know, locations around the world. But I didn't know there was supposedly witchers. So I'm going to be looking that one out, checking that one out. And, if you find anything about it, let me know, because I was like, wow, witchers. What a neat show that would be, to put together information about witchers and discuss that topic. But anyway, I'll have to get you and Jason over here and talk about stuff. Tommy, come and do a live show with us. I'm a middle child syndrome. Yeah, I was the youngest for a while, but then my younger brother came in at 9, and when I was 9, and took the title, so I became a middle child. So I've been both. I like being the baby the best, I think, but I love my little brother, so it works out. All right, so we're going to get to the cryptid corner now, folks, because, well, we got to check out the cryptids. So yeah, Tommy, let me know what your life looks like, and we can do that. We can pull our resources for an episode, and then we can turn it into a podcast as well afterwards. So that would be a lot of fun. Let's do it. All right, so we're going to go to Sasquatch Chronicles blog, ladies and gentlemen, for the first part of this. And we'll see what we get into. I don't even know what a Witcher is. Oh, you don't? Are you not, Sam? Are you not familiar with the Netflix series Witcher with Henry Cavill, who played Superman, or the video game series that it's based on? Basically, it goes around hunting monsters, and it's like this supernatural fantasy realm kind of thing. Basically, a Renaissance type figure, but it's like supernatural, kind of like the seventh son of a seventh son kind of thing. That's often used as a witch hunter, or something to that effect. So yeah, Jason, yeah, that's what Mr. Black story of an imaginary friend. Ooh, wow, love to hear that too. Yeah, yep. So that's what the Witcher gave on Netflix 6 months ago. It got bored of Hulu. Yeah, the Witcher series is pretty good, but it is a bunch of video games too. So I'm sure you could probably go on YouTube and find a bunch of clips of The Witcher, but it was just pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I like the Witcher series on Netflix. I really do. I think the action is really well done and choreographed solid. And Henry Cavill's a hell of a sword fighter. He's just really good. But yeah, it's really cool. But apparently it's based on a real phenomena, which I don't know how, again, based on means a whole spectrum of things in Hollywood version, but I got to find out what the nature of the real Witchers was. Yeah, please, Rachel. I'd love to see that. Or if you find other articles having to do with the actual Witcher legends, I'd love to see those as well. I'd love to talk about that on the shows, but I haven't gotten around to researching it yet. But when Tommy was asking about the seventh son of the seventh son, it's kind of the same kind of philosophy of, I think, from what I understand of The Witcher from the series and from the game, is that they were kind of contracted as these not human, but not inhuman either. They're like their own thing. They're kind of like they died and came back or something. So they're supernatural beings or people, but they hunt monsters. They hunt creatures that prey on people. So anyway, that's how I got there mentally, just so you know. All right, let's get to December 28th from Sasquatch Chronicles blog.com. Special thank you, Wes, letting us peruse your blog, because it makes my show look better and better, which is important. December 28th, a giant booming voice. A listener writes, on August 5th of this year, I know the date because I took a video of the beautiful spot and posted it on Instagram. And I guess that's the spot, the little picture there, if you can see that. I went out to do a little camping, and I had intended to fish on the Klickitat River east of Glenwood, Washington. I'd camped there before with no occurrences, so I was not concerned. I was on my motorcycle with very few supplies, just a tent, sleeping bag, and water. I had a perfect spot on the edge of the canyon overlooking the river below. This is an area with many scrub oak and many dried leaves on the ground, and I explored the area before dark, and I knew how noisy it was walking through the leaf litter. I set up a tent and was prepared to camp without a fire as it was dry and a burn ban was in effect. I enjoyed the sunset over the canyon and Mount Adams in the distance, and I could hear elk bugling in the meadow, and walked out in the dark to see the landscape under the bright moon. The moon faded behind the clouds, so I walked back near my bike and tent. It was well after dark, and I was smoking a cigar when I heard what sounded like voices at the bottom of the canyon. As my awareness prickled, I made a conscious effort to control my rising anxiety. Out of context and out of nowhere, with a giant booming voice, I hear a single word directed right towards me. I could not comprehend what the word was, or even what it sounded like. It was clear and articulate, but not discernible. It was completely audible and unmistakable. At this point, my fear was rising, but I was still trying to control my reactions. I then started to hear footsteps approaching at a distance from an area that I had walked earlier. I shined a small light in the direction of the approaching footfalls and saw eye shine, but could not see a figure from behind a tree. The light I had with me was not enough to illuminate the details at the distance of what I was walking towards me. I could not make out anything other than a silhouette of a large figure. It continued to approach slowly, even as I shone a light towards it. It was walking towards me in an area where the tree branches hung low. I could not tell if my flashlight could not penetrate past the branches or if the figure was just too dark. The footsteps continued to approach and finally turned away, dropping over the edge of the canyon with barely a sound. It was a terrifying 15 to 20 feet before turning away, and I could no longer control my fear. The fact that it continually approached me made no sense and heightened my alarm. I scrambled, bunched up everything I brought with me with a bungee cord onto my bike, and the encounter was not aggressive, but I was terrified. The figure seemed to absorb the light. I'm not sure if it was just my flashlight wasn't sufficient or the character of the figure's color, but it was barely visible. I panicked, could barely kickstart my bike and just tore out of there. This was by far the most vulnerable situation I've been in, and I was in utter terror despite my attempts to not be. Yeah, that's crazy. Wow. Yeah, it was like, nope, get out of here. This is my spot. You don't belong. That was a quick push. And obviously it wasn't meaning to harm the guy. It was just meaning to intimidate him to leave. That's crazy. I'm out of here. Boom. That's a good way to get rid of the problems. All right, we're going to read this one now. This one's not too long. It's from December 28th, an extremely tall figure standing on a sandbar. A listener writes, I was traveling east on Highway 14, just past Camas, Washington. It was about 9 a.m. and I was with a new girlfriend. There was salmon fishermen everywhere on the river, just past the power lines at Camas, and we both look out and see an extremely tall figure standing on a sandbar out in the river. The first thought was, how did that guy get out there? Second thought, where's his boat? Third, he's really tall, and he was lean but 7 feet tall at least. 4, his arms are really long. He was bent over only slightly, but his arms were long enough to be digging in the mud. Number 5, he's not wearing clothes. It was all dark, but not wearing clothes. Number 6, why are those birds there? That makes no sense. There was a small group of seagulls standing in the water directly near his hand, and they would never be that close to a person. We were traveling about 60 to 70 miles per hour, and the figure was about 75 yards away out in the river. We commented to each other that the thought process in the exact same order as detailed above. We only saw the figure for maybe 3 seconds as we passed by. Kenzie, my girlfriend, knew exactly what that was when she saw it, and she said, was that a Bigfoot? She barely knew me and did not know that I was an enthusiast. I turned the car around at the next available turnaround and tried to get back as fast as possible. The highways divided there, and I could not see over the retaining wall. By the time we swung back around, the thing was gone. But the handful of birds were still there. 3 to 4. I couldn't believe we saw that right outside of town with fishermen all over the river at 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I mean, it's surprising the amount of, IDGAFs that Sasquatch issue all the time. Like, they don't seem to care. Sometimes they seem to care an awful bunch about remaining hidden, and then they'll just do stuff like that. Like, man, I don't care. Some sightings, they're just walking at a regular pace through a field or whatever, and people are watching them, and they'll look over and see the people, just be like, like a casual acknowledgement, and just keep going. Like, they're not afraid. They're not like, people, and they run. They just keep lumbering off, doing their thing. And that to me is surprising. That's very surprising. Like, you would think they would be aggressively hiding from people, but they don't. They're surprisingly non-flustered at all when they see people. I don't know. I guess when you're that big, it's like, what do you really got to worry about? What are you going to do about it? Nothing. I'm just going to sit here and go, oh my God, Bigfoot. That's like the whole thing, folks. Whatever the case. That's pretty incredible. It's just out there. Didn't give no dams about it. All right. So we're going to move over to Phantoms and Monsters now because we just burned through the 2 opportunities there was at Sasquatch Chronicles to talk about cryptids. Those were the listener emails that Wes had posted. I just want to look. How we doing? Good. Okay, we're doing good. About a half hour left. So we're going to go over to Phantoms and Monsters. This is Lon's site. Lon does an exceptional job as well and has hundreds of encounter stories over there. If you're looking for more encounter stories or information about specific cryptids, check out phantomsandmonsters.com. Lon also has published works you can reference to see what he's got available. And his own podcast is available, as always, and that is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And you can find that on YouTube as well, youtube.com/Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And make sure you sign up. I want a beer that's called Backhand of God. Sounds a little brutal. Sounds a little brutal, Maggie. I don't know. Backhand of God. Wasn't too long ago I had this. It's actually really good. I was surprised, but I had this. It's like a sipping liqueur, but I think it tasted like peanut butter. Was it called a screwball or something like that? I don't remember, but it tasted like peanut butter. It was like a whiskey peanut butter or something. It was really tasty though. It's like, oh my God. You guys know what I'm talking about? No? Yes? I watched Lon's show tonight. It was good. There you go, Lucky. Thank you. Yeah, support Lon. He's been doing this for a long time, and he really is one of those pillars of the community, you know, honestly. He helped cut a lot of the grounds that we're walking. He and Wes both. They were cutting these paths for us. And so you gotta pay the respects where they're due. But we're gonna visit one on phantomsandmonsters.com, and this is too bad Don's not here. This has been a perfect one for a Wednesday, but we'll just go with it. This one is young black-eyed kid vanishes in Texas mall. So, you know, this is another one. This is usually black-eyed kid stories are nighttime stories, but it sounds like this might be a daytime. And recently I heard another daytime story too, which seemed really out of character for black-eyed kids, but let's see what it says. Excuse me. Hold on. Yeah, I can understand why. I still got a lot of stuff in my lungs. I really do. It feels like my lungs are shallower than they should be, but when I use that NAC, I really start hacking it up. It's like, oh, I can tell there's lots of stuff there. So maybe that's my problem. I got to get more of that stuff out. All right, young black-eyed kid vanishes in Texas mall. A grandfather's watching his grandchild playing at the mall recreation area when he notices a very young black-eyed boy who seems so out of place. What happened next freaks him out. I received the following account. This one actually is kind of creepy because on the Saturday before Christmas, I had a grandbaby duty because everyone else was off shopping and doing things. So I took my granddaughter to the mall in Cedar Park, Texas. They have a bunch of these bounce houses and these inflatable things, and they basically put them in the shopping malls. Well, I had taken her to one of those and checked in and was about and just kind of sitting at the bench watching her, and I noticed this kid looked about 6 years old kid dressed in black jeans and a hoodie, like a gray kind of hoodie, but not necessarily a clean one. And I'm thinking, this kid looks out of place compared to all these other kids. All these other kids are running around not really noticing him, and so I'm kind of watching him, and he just happens to glance back at me, and I'm like, holy crap, that kid doesn't have any eyes. It was just black right where his eyes were. So I stand up, walk towards him, and I think he must have noticed me, and he just kind of walked towards or past the inflatables, and there's a row of 6 inflatables, and when I say inflatables, it's the big blow-up sides, slides and bounce houses. So I follow him, and I'm walking behind him. The last little, I don't know, space that they have are those stairs that you walk up, and there's a pit of foam blocks that you can jump into, or do somersaults and some. And there's a front of a staircase that has a little turn to it, and I go up. I'm watching him, and he turns around and he looks at me, and sure enough, a 6-year-old kid, black jeans, white gray hoodie, black eyes, or he didn't have any eyes. He waved at me and turned to walk up the stairs, and I kind of fast walked to see if I could get him, and he's not on the stairs. He's not anywhere. He just disappeared. And like I said, I followed him from the front because that's where all the benches are for the old people, and I noticed him, and I followed him all the way to the back. I mean, I was 15 or 20 feet behind him the entire time. He got to the back, made the little loop, turned around and looked at me. Basically, he acknowledged me, gave me a wave, and vanished. Nobody at all. It was crazy. It was kind of weird because the entire time, it was like he was there, but not quite in focus. Does that make any sense? It was like he was standing there, but if another kid was standing beside him, he would look a little blurry compared to the other kid. And with well-defined angles and things like this, he was just kind of there. And the weirdest thing about it was the kids would just walk around him, but not acknowledging that he was even there. And they were just running around, going back and forth, just running around doing craziness. And the parents and everyone else, and it was almost like I was the only one who even noticed him. And he was not necessarily happy that I noticed him because he was just scouting stuff out. I didn't say anything to anybody. I just grabbed my grandchild and said, "It's ice cream time. Let's go." Yeah, that's a good time to make ice cream time and get the hell out. Because if it really doesn't like you seeing it, maybe it'll start lashing out at you. Like, "Oh, you can see me, huh? Well, I got something for you." Yeah, that's creepy as hell, though. But again, it's another daytime sighting, which is weird. And I wonder if it was literally only visible to this guy. Like, I think the black-eyed kids are probably some form of spiritual manifestation. And not a good one, just a spiritual manifestation. Usually a negative, but I think that's maybe they do scout things out. Maybe they're looking for kids to go appear at their door later or something. And somehow or another, this guy could see the child, and maybe that foiled his plans. I don't know. Very creepy. But then to turn around and just kind of wave and go, "Yeah, I know you can see me. See you later." Boom, gone. That's pretty crazy. Kind of cool though, but crazy. It's just, if only we could have a dialogue. If only we could talk. Just say, "What's going on? What are you doing? How come you can do this? What is the nature of this? What am I not understanding?" God, I got a million questions. BKs are just one big nope. Yeah, they are. You don't like rum either, Sam? Sam, you don't like rum? I like a good Captain Morgan Coke. I don't know if that's a real manly drink, but I like them. I like them. I've never been able to figure BEKs. Yeah, me either. I don't know what to make of them, but I think I've kind of settled on the fact that they're not really physical, but they can manifest very, very convincingly. Like they can, I don't think they're necessarily a spirit either. I think they're something else, maybe a lower vibrational entity, and but they can manifest completely in this realm, and maybe just for a period of time, but they can do it. Too many cases of them just disappearing, reappearing on a rooftop, and moments later, things like that, appearing right next to a door and then blink and they're across the street. It's certainly not possible that they physically moved that fast. So all that's left is they must be some manifestation of consciousness. But what? I don't know. I'd love to know what their ancient name was, because I mean, obviously, Black-Eyed Kids is a brand new name. And the problem with that is that when the phenomena is divorced from whatever folklore people were aware of, we lose something, because the folklores do have information. And maybe it's not good information, maybe it's just superstitious information, but it's information of people having experience coming into contact with things, allegedly. But when you get these new names like the Rake instead of ghouls or whatever, and the Black-Eyed Kids instead of, God only knows what they might be originally, but we lose that history. And so it's just this nebulous thing then. It's all back to the drawing board. Interesting. Here we got a werewolf story. Haven't done those very often here on the show. Always love a good werewolf story. So here's one that was observed along the roadway in Calvert County, Maryland. This is from, the 28th. So very new. A Maryland teen recalls seeing a tall, werewolf-like cryptid while riding in his parents' car in Calvert County, Maryland. What did the eyewitness observe? I received the following account. This is a rather short encounter because I was riding in a car and basically saw it and rode past it. I've been past the site hundreds of times since, but have never gotten out and walked around the area. Maybe I should. This encounter changed my life. When I read the encounters by others, I never discount them. Why? Because I know what I saw. And who am I to question someone else's experience? Sure, there's a lot of made-up stories and creepypasta out there, but I strive to find credible sound accounts. It was the evening of July 1992, and my family and I were coming back from Chesapeake Beach, Maryland, after dinner, and my brother and mom and dad. I was 16 years old and in the back right passenger seat, chilling with my brother. Riding along, just looking out the window, and there's a little road that merges onto the main road on the left. So as we merge, we pick up a little speed. We're going maybe 25 to 30 miles per hour, and you have to cross this little bridge, and it's really bumpy. So we slowed and even more to maybe 20 miles per hour. And once we did that, I look up ahead, and about 75 yards ahead, I see something standing on the wood edge off to the right a little, but it was exactly at the edge of the woods. It had both arms on a tree and standing there, meaning its right arm was on a tree about shoulder height and its left arm was on a tree about shoulder height. So its arms were basically spread out with its hands on the trees. It was about 7 feet tall, maybe even taller. It had a wolf-like face, only larger, like a dire wolf from Game of Thrones. It had really broad shoulders, very muscular arms, a barrel chest, and narrowed the rest of the way down to the abdominal area. It was dark brown, and the hair was medium length. I didn't get a great look at the legs because it locked eyes with me. I knew I saw it, and it saw me. I saw it a good distance up ahead, and I was like, what the hell is that standing on the wood edge? Soon as I said that to myself, I locked eyes with it. I saw it for a good 10 to 15 seconds because of how far up ahead I first noticed it, moving around and how slow we were traveling. Its eyes followed mine the entire time. I took my breath and just realized what I was looking at, and my first thought was, God, that thing is ugly. It had very pointy features. It didn't look like a Bigfoot, but an actual werewolf. A lot of people call it Dogman, but I'm more inclined to say that this was an actual wolfman. I said out loud to my family, did you guys see that thing? Obviously, they were like, see what? Another thing was in southern Maryland, there are no bears or other large animals. But I asked my family over and over if they saw it, and they started getting annoyed with me. I told people over the years, but I was only ridiculed and teased, so I just stopped. So that's my encounter. This occurred in Calvert County, Maryland. My family still doesn't believe me either, and most other people think I'm crazy or lying, so I very rarely tell anyone about it. But it was real. It was there. I was there. And I just wanted to know the W's of the creature. What, where, why, etc. Don't we all? We all want to know the W's. This is all about a journey, right? It is for me. It is for me. Oh. Water. Drinking water. Refreshing. So cool story. Again, just an incidental road kind of contact, but it doesn't make it any less. It's just probably a lot less fearful. Being in a car traveling at, 20, 30 miles an hour is a lot better place than sitting next to a tent looking at a big dog thing. In my opinion, anyway. This one is some Bigfoot activity because we still love ourselves some Bigfoot. It's not too long. We might have time for one more after this, but this is getting towards the end of our offerings for the night. It says Northeast Pennsylvania resident describes Bigfoot activity around the home. This is from the 28th of December. It says a Northeast Pennsylvania resident had several strange occurrences at his home that most likely were the result of Bigfoot activity. The entire area, according to the man, is known for Bigfoot sightings. I'm from northeastern Pennsylvania, and I started hunting with my dad at 5 years old, and I'm now 55. I know our woods and game very well. I'd have to find a way to bring up Bigfoot with 95% of the people around me. These events happen where I live. To give you an idea of the terrain, I live at the base of the northwest slope of the Appalachian Mountains. My land backs up to the mountain, which goes for miles of undeveloped land and mountain range, runs all the way to New York State. There have been Bigfoot sightings over the years in the surrounding area, and I have two good friends who have had sightings. There's also an older report by men in our hunting camp on top of the mountain. I never saw one, but had strange events occur on more than one occasion. My first one was in my yard. It was about 9 p.m. in the summer, just getting dark, and I had an issue with the septic pump and had the lid off the septic tank and to install the backup pump. I was on my knees with my back to the woods, and it was now dark, and I was working hard under the spotlight. My mind was on the task and not too happy about literally performing this job. Out of nowhere, the hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. That sixth sense that never lies to me, and I got a chill up my spine like I never had before. I don't scare easily, but this had me at my wit's end. I popped to my feet and sprinted to my deck like I was on fire. My wife was on the deck and asked, "What the hell's wrong with you? I've never seen you move like that fast in my life." I started staring into the woods and could now hear something big walking up from behind where I was, and then turned slightly, and it stayed around 20 yards in the wood line. I had a flashlight and shined it where I could hear walking, but it couldn't see anything. I stopped and stood for a while, and it must have been looking at us on the deck, and then it walked off. It spotted me to no end. That damn thing didn't make a noise until I was on my deck, which is about 8 feet high, and it was coming up directly behind me. It sounded like a person walking, only at a slower pace. There was no eye shine either. That fall, I kept hearing trees falling, big ones with no wind. A couple of times I could hear something walking, then it would stop like a person, and then it would walk up to something and do that half step to stop. Then I would hear the trees getting pushed over. I was out working on our ground pool, and it was squatted between the house and the pool, not moving or making any noise. And all of a sudden I heard this rabbit squealing, only about 30 yards away from me. Being squatted, I popped on my feet and the squealing stopped immediately. But I could see the rabbit off to my left, and I could see bushes and trees moving like something was running but couldn't see what it was. I looked back and could still see the rabbit. I walked over, the rabbit was acting odd. He just kind of hopped away in the opposite direction of what looked like something running. I went to my house for dinner, sat down, started eating, and I was thinking about what happened. From the ridge above my house, I heard this loud howl. The dogs picked up their heads and looked at me with a worried look on their face. They cowered and put their heads down. Usually they'd go ape after hearing a dog bark. Coyotes howling, cats fighting, etc. The only thing that made them act like that was a bad thunderstorm. Later, I was taking our older dog out through the side door to our garbage. As I opened the door, the 30-foot tall maple tree in my yard with all the leaves started shaking like crazy. There was no wind at all, and no other tree was shaking. My dog started smelling the ground and ran over to the base of the tree, circled the base of the tree, and sniffed up the tree. I never did see anything. It says from the description of the witness, seems the property was located just northeast of the Pocono Mountains before entering New York State. Wow. That is craziness. You just never know, folks. They could be anywhere. They could be behind you right now. You just don't know. It's anybody's guess. Wow. I'll tell you what you don't also know. It's how quickly these shows get done. Which tonight is probably good. I feel pretty zapped, so I'm going to probably start with a nice nap. I don't know. I feel really wound out, but I don't know. These stories are great. What do you think is Dogman physical, or is it something else too? Kind of like the Black Eyed Kids. I know a lot of people are kind of weighing towards the Dogman being more of a spiritual, maybe transdimensional thing. And I gotta admit, it kind of makes sense. I don't know. It certainly could. I mean, what do we really know about any of this stuff? Nothing. We really know nothing. So could be though. It's I just don't know about going to look for them. That's the part that I just can't get my head around. It's one thing to maybe have a sighting, but if you didn't ask for it, then you just deal with it the best you can and find your way through it, if hopefully. But what if you just you're just camping, like the other story? You're just camping, and then boom, there it is, just sitting there looking at you. And I think that was a Bigfoot, but still, at that point, I don't think it matters a whole lot, because either way, you're looking at something that could absolutely trash you and destroy you and destroy your stuff without even flexing. So it's anybody's guess, but very crazy stuff. Sorry. Just lots of thoughts on the topic, but I got the microphone. You get all my thoughts for free. No extra charge, ladies and gentlemen. None at all. So, I don't know. I think it's been a good journey, though, tonight. I hope you guys have had a good time. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. I hope you feel like you've learned something. Like there was value in coming into the show tonight. You feel like it was good. It's always good to see so many of you coming in. And Tommy, it's great to see you, brother. I do look forward to hearing from you if you're still out there. Love to talk to you guys and figure out a time to have you guys on, because I think that'd be an amazing discussion to have. If we could just finagle it all, I think that'd be wonderful. Excuse me. But no pressure either, though, by the way. I don't mean to, to ask you publicly so you can't say no. I mean, if you're not able to, that's fine. I can be patient. I can certainly be patient. But I'm looking forward to it. I always, it's been a long time since we had guests on the show, other than Deb, our very own Deb, who does psychic readings. But I think it's about time to start having some guests on, talking about some strangeness and talking about the strangeness in your guys' end of the world. See what's going on over there. So, not so sure about the Black Eyed Kids. Some Dogman stories are compelling. I'm pretty much convinced about Sasquatch. Anyone who's listened to Sasquatch Chronicles, episode 515 with Claire. Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, that's such a strong story. Claire was one of those witnesses that you can just hear it in her voice, the way her voice quivers, that she's reliving that. She's reliving that story every time she's telling it. And maybe it's gotten better since being on the show and stuff, but yeah, you can tell that she carries that with her like a brick. And then the weirdness that followed it, this weird, I don't know, almost Men in Black kind of, encounter with people that don't want her to remember and don't want her to get it right. So, thank you, Rachel. Thought and discuss stuff. Oh, I appreciate that. I and again, please, if you find anything about the Witchers, please let me know. I'm very interested in that because, again, it's a whole nother facet of this that I'd never learned about. So I find that kind of stuff extraordinarily interesting. But lots of strangeness. Again, we're going to do Saturday's show, so I hope you guys will join me tomorrow night right here on the portal. Unless suddenly the health just goes south, and I'll post on social media to let you guys know. But I do plan on being here. I'm just gonna kind of lay low and hopefully kick the rest of this stuff out. But yeah, I just need to feel awake. I think that's the big takeaway. Is ever since I've been sick, I don't think I've felt really awake since being sick, and yeah, not much I can do about it. Just got to get better. But anyway, there's really good encounters that happened in my province in Manitoba. Yeah, I'll bet there are. The story that stuck with me is the Florida fisherman in the kayak. Yeah. Was that tonight's show? Did we cover one with the kayak tonight? I don't know. Not sure if you're talking to me, Chucky, or not. But then again, I'm a little foggy, so I could have read 5 things and not remember 3 of them. So, but anyway, that's going to wrap up what we've got time for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed the journey. I hope you had a good time on Sasquatch Chronicles. Okay, gotcha. And remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here on YouTube or Twitch, streaming live both locations. But if you want to listen live without watching, head over to tfrlive.com. So that's going to do it for us. So anyway, thank you all again. And I guess have a safe day. See you tomorrow. I'm going to roll the credits and get some rest. So good night, everybody.
Woo!